Very honored to have you here, Governor, and grateful to you. And what do you think of that?
Good to see you again, Mark.
What do you think of that kid, Wes Moore?
We were all, my whole family supported him.
Yeah.
We were glad to have a Democratic governor after 8 years of going backwards under Larry Hogan, which most people nationally don't realize he was the most corrupt governor in modern Maryland history, which is saying a lot when
What
you
what what what
consider
kind of corruption are you alleging?
it was all real estate kickback stuff. He's the only governor in the modern history of our state to make himself a multimillionaire while in office.
Now,
40, 40% of the
yeah.
recipients of
Yeah.
affordable housing developer tax credits went to paying clients of his, listed as his clients on his website, the largest waiver to destroy wetlands in Maryland ever since they were put off limits to development back in the early 70s was granted by the Board of Public Works, which is the governor, the treasurer, and the comptroller. After it was rejected twice, and every department rejected it, it was on Kent Island. Larry Hogan made sure it was scheduled for a date that he was out of town, and his lieutenant governor approved that largest waiver ever granted, and it was for a for-profit developer that he listed on his family's website as right there on the list for everybody to see. So it was horrible. It was appalling. It was in plain sight. And as everybody would say, it wasn't as bad as Donald Trump. So we were glad when Wes Moore came in. There was a sweeping ethics reform bill that was passed unanimously by Democrats and Republicans to prohibit any future governor from running through the giant hole in Maryland's ethics laws that somehow allowed that, even though he was told he had to put his interests in a blind trust. He responded that, well, his interests are of an ongoing business nature, so they're not amenable to a blind trust. So Wes Moore actually put his assets in a truly blind trust, and we're glad that some ethics has been restored to the governor's office in Maryland, so we're glad he's there.
I have to say, I covered Governor Hogan pretty extensively. I read the press about him quite a bit. I vaguely remember one of his aides was indicted for something. I can't remember who
Yeah, that
that
was an
was.
ugly. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was an
but
ugly thing. He got a bunch of kickbacks, and then he
yeah,
committed suicide by
yeah,
FBI.
yeah. But
Well, I shouldn't say kickbacks. He wasn't getting kickbacks. He says that he got Larry Hogan's permission to get a huge exit bonus
yeah.
from a quasi-governmental entity called the Maryland Environmental uh, Services Agency. And then Larry Hogan said, no, I never did agree to that. And Larry Hogan also said, as soon as he told me I agreed to that, my first call was to my criminal defense attorney.
So here's my question for you, Governor, because you're very careful man in my experience. I've not heard of any of the allegations that you raised against Governor Hogan. Were these things written about anywhere?
Yes, they were. It was written by Eric Cortellessa in Time Magazine shortly
Oh,
before the last election when Eric was at Washingtonian Magazine.
uh,
Before the election, he wrote a very well documented thing.
but
Uh,
the Washington Post or Baltimore Sun cover any of this?
no, they never did. And that's a really good question.
Huh.
The coverage of state government has pretty much evaporated. I don't think that's unique in Maryland.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it
is.
used to
That's true.
be it used to be in the basement of the State House, which I'm sure you're familiar with. The whole what is that left south wing of
Yeah,
the
I've been in
State
there.
House
I was there once.
with
Old school.
reporters,
Yeah,
old school stuff.
yeah,
Cubicles sitting on
yeah,
top of each other's desks.
yeah.
You don't find a soul there anymore. And so, for whatever reason, his opponent in his first election, well, that was his first election. He wasn't raking in the money like that. But in the second one, Ben Jealous, for whatever reason, chose not to hit him on it.
Yeah.
And, New Republic did an article too. Their
Okay.
headline was
I'm gonna go look it up because
called,
again I followed him pretty closely.
yeah,
I don't
their
remember any of it.
headline was called "Meet the Most Popular Crook in America."
Okay, I'm gonna go look for that. The good folks at Cozy Earth are doing a crazy thing right now. They're having Black Friday Cozy Earth sale every day. Won't last forever, but right now, 40% off site wide on the sheets, the pillows, cases, the pajamas, the bubble cuddle blanket, the jogger pants, all available now for 40% off. Go to cozyearth.com, use the promo code CHUE for 40% off. Kind of an incredible opportunity for you to buy stuff for yourself. Well, it keeps you cool in summer, but as we said before, it keeps you warm in winter, and you need to be ready to stay warm. So go to cozyearth.com and do yourself a favor, get 40% off. This is an opportunity. I wouldn't say of a lifetime necessarily, but if you haven't yet bought the Cozy Earth, for instance, the pants, you know I'm a big fan. Do that now, 40% off. Holiday shopping, get it done. Lickety split with Cozy Earth, cozyearth.com. Wrap the ones you love in luxury with Cozy Earth. Thank you for your attention to that matter.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and Two-Way Tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.